So why that always, I don't know why that always hypes me up.
It hypes me up. I cannot not be hyped up. But that's so good
your nails are
because
cute.
thank you. It's green from whatever holiday just passed. St. Patrick's Day. But I'm due. Actually, I was supposed to go today, but I think I'm going to go tomorrow or Saturday and get them done. But anyway, welcome everyone to DC Life Sisters, talking about all the stuff that's been happening in the Black news and pop culture space this last week. We've got to talk about Diddy. We've got to talk about some other things that are happening, but welcome to our space. Davita Joe, how was your week so far?
My week was great. And, ironically, like whenever I'm off, the week flies by. And right now it's not. Like, I feel like I'm rooted in the fact that it's not even Friday yet.
Yeah.
I have the whole rest of the day left today. We're going to do something great this evening. But my week has been really good. Like, I feel like I've been productive in self-care because a lot of times, we forget ourselves or whatever. And I feel like I've been doing really good with that. And just having like today, I woke up, I had this whole dance party, even though I woke up late, right?
What is late?
Well, I mean,
it's no late. It's no late.
But you know what? In my heart, I really want to be an early morning riser, right? I want to be that person that gets up while the house is still quiet and, I'm walking around, I'm doing stuff. By the time, the day gets started, like I've done all these things, right?
Yeah.
I want to be that person. But I'm currently the person who just feels like I cannot go to bed on time.
What is on time?
Oh my goodness. And so anyway, long story short, I feel like, I've been doing really good in the self-care department, but I need to work on consistent like sleep hours. But I always feel like I'm gonna miss something. But anyway, so I woke up late today, but I had this whole little dance party to somebody's YouTube video because people open up their YouTubes with like these long songs sometimes. And I typically don't sit there for the whole 5-minute intro or 20-minute intro. But this particular person always has bomb old school songs. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I just got my little dance on. So anyway, my point is I think my self-care goals have been doing good and the week's not even over yet. So I said all that to say I'm having a great week.
Oh, good. I've been having a good week too. Maybe the week before that, and it might have been that week, we're talking about going live more, and I feel like I fell off a little bit on that, but I did record some footage this last week, so I'm going to be putting some stuff out on my Yes I'm a Unicorn channel, and I still have another live like locked and loaded, ready to record, or ready to go live. So I might even do that today, but sometime in between today and tomorrow, there's going to be another live talking about some of the things that I want to talk about. So anyway, I've been having a good week, but sometimes I'll be procrastinating, and I found this post. I just want to share this right off the gate. This is so funny. So this girl, I want to stop saying girl. This young lady, I think she's into like marketing or something, but I'm going to just put her post up here because it's funny. I won't even play it, but basically she's like talking about like, oh yeah, here we have a procrastinator. Yeah, they're gonna get out of their phone soon and get up and start making this content or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, I felt so attacked.
I've seen those before. Oh my God, that's perfect. That's perfect because it probably came to you right at the time when your ass was procrastinating.
It was the perfect post. I was like, to put that much thought into like your post and how it lands, I thought that was really interesting, an interesting take on it. And it was so funny that she dressed up as all these different characters.
Yeah, that is funny.
And it really came across. It's hilarious. So it said, I don't like your tone.
That's the funny part about this is that she dressed up as all those characters.
Oh my God, hilarious. But that definitely was it kind of, I won't say it sums up my week, but it was something that I caught myself because I was like, man, I was really excited, and I still am excited about doing these lives, but I fell off a schedule a little bit, but I'm back and I'm about just keep creating content. So there's
Well,
that.
I can relate to that because I also wanted to do more lives too, and I was going good for a second after my first one, and then I don't know. I think I just got taken over by tasks or something like that. But I mean, it's still not too late. Like we're gonna get back on. The whole thing is that you don't quit. So all this is a process. All of this is a process.
So let me just say this before we get started. Hopefully people are already commenting, but we're not going to be able to see it because we are actually pre-recording this video. But this is not where we are right now, but they're basically going on tour to talk about it. And so we're going to be tonight, instead of going live like we normally do, you're going to see this, which was pre-recorded. So keep commenting if you've already commented, because I think we're still gonna be able to see it when we come back. But yeah, I'm so excited. We're gonna go meet some of the people from that put on the Social Proof podcast. And so I'm excited. We're gonna be there tonight. Shout out to Social Proof Podcast.
Yeah, shout out to Social Proof Podcast. This is if you guys have watched our channel for some time, you know that we always talk about Social Proof Podcast and Donnie Wiggins and David Shands. And so they are, like Sis said, they're doing a podcast summit tour, I believe. And the podcast summit is in the summertime. It's I think is it in Atlanta this year?
Yeah, it's in Atlanta. I don't think we're gonna make this. Actually, we're not gonna make this year. But
no, we're not gonna make that this year. But they are doing a tour, and they have to be in our city. So I'm hoping. I don't know who's gonna be there. I'm hoping at least David better be there. But I would be excited if people were Donnie with him, and it'd just be interesting to meet any of those people. Now, the interesting thing, keep that picture up. The interesting thing about this picture is the first person that I noticed in this group was Tasha K.
Oh, I didn't even notice. I see her now.
Wow. I was like,
okay,
Tasha.
That.
So this is what
That's awesome.
I just take this as a sidebar when people be talking about her. This is what I be saying about her. She's still moving around, working and networking. All right. So it's going to be interesting to see how she does on here, because I think this is kind of where she started talking to people on stage, right? So before she got onto the internet. But anyway, I said that to say, yeah, we're going to be at their tour in our city tonight. Obviously, we'll come back and recap it for those people who are into entrepreneurialism and podcasting and stuff like we are. We're going to give a full recap. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, he's going to be there. I just looking at this. But so what I wanted to talk about though first is first of all, one of the things that we like to do, which people haven't picked up on it by now, we always like to highlight people in our community. I'm gonna go ahead and just, since we're already talking about them, we've talked about them before. The Social Proof Podcast, shout out to them because we watched them quite a bit, and this is their page right here.
We've been watching since before before the hot seat came about, before full transparency with Donnie Wiggins came about. Like, we've been watching them, grow. So anyway, I didn't mean to jump in right there, but
no, for sure. No, that's perfect. Like, that's what I was like. That's actually what we were just, that's exactly what we're saying. Like, we're just shouting them out because we have been watching them for a long time. I was watching this stream with Myron the other day. And yeah, they put me on the Myron, and he said that right in the beginning of this thing. Like, my viewership has gone up since since I did the interview. But now he has more followers than lots of people. Buttercup is so crazy. Like, she has to be the star of the show. Like, she has to be. She's like underneath the desk right now. So anyway, yeah. So shout out to them. But if you don't know and you haven't heard about Social Proof Podcast, make sure you go check them out. I'm trying to find Donnie's page. Here it is. This is Donnie Wiggins, and she has a podcast too on the Social Proof. It's on the same platform, I think, right?
It's on the same platform, but she also just started her own YouTube channel, and so she's been putting a lot of behind the scenes as a CEO things back there. That video of her in the rated black pants was hilarious because click on that. She
Weird.
showed like a day in her day of how she, goes to her work day and she put it on speed or whatever. She's sitting there talking to clients and stuff like that. But I just took note of like her environment and like, you know what I'm saying, how she's dressed. She probably got up and did like a great self-care routine. She feels good about helping her clients. She got her water there. I was like, this was a really good piece of content that probably take anything to do because she just recorded herself on a time lapse, right? And just played it. Like, the caption was great too. But anyway, all that to say, she's definitely a wealth of information. She talks about self-care. She talks about entrepreneurialism, which I cannot say that word today for some reason. She just talks about a lot of things from a Black woman's perspective in her situation of being a successful entrepreneur. So I really like that about her and David, and I love their, she, that's a lot of times when he does shows, and when they first started out, Donnie came in, and his crowd didn't really receive her well, but she was there calling out some of the BS. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't like the fact that she was, doing that, and then it grew, and now people like crave her input on some of these shows. Like some of the hot seats, I wish she was there because she would ask different questions. Right? She was on one. It was kind of brutal, but she's for real. She's real. So I like that about her.
Yeah, I do too. I like a lot about her. And, recently, I'll just say this. There was a post about, I wonder if I could just find that post here. Share this episode. Yeah. This right here. This episode right here was wild because I didn't even see the full episode yet. I only saw part of it. Mm-hmm. But this guy in the audience was absolutely ridiculous in the way that he was controlling his girlfriend, and they kept saying in the thing, and I thought it was crazy when I saw the clips, but then I started to understand more. But basically they talked to this guy in the audience, and he is talking about why he won't let his girlfriend watch Shan's or something like that, and then they go off into this whole thing where they're like, how can you control her to that extent? And da, 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 da. So Shan's at one point was like, that's why I keep asking, have you ever put your hands on her? I was like, dang, it gets to that part of the conversation. So but then Donnie here is giving like sort of like a, almost like a public service announcement in a way. It's just like, if you're out there and you need help, and I felt like she was talking directly to the girl. If you're out there and you need help, contact me. We can figure, I don't know the number, we can figure it out together, but nobody should be able to do this. And she got emotional.
Mm-hmm. I think I saw part of that, but I didn't understand the full context, and I didn't go back to see the full thing. I'm gonna have to find that actual one. But I could imagine her doing that too. That's probably exactly what she was doing.
Yeah, and it was no way this person has the right comment or the right, because it's like a qualified health and mental professional at this conversation would have been great, but nobody knew it was going to go there. Mm-hmm. Like they do this podcast all the time.
About entrepreneurialism.
I think a lot of times they just be winging it. I think they just are very well informed. They're out there doing business, and they could just pick a few topics and be like, yeah, let's talk about this, see where the conversation goes. So I don't even think it's really,
it's not like the podcast is about mental health or like domestic or whatever, right? You never know. But at the same time, I can't say that any two people having this conversation, that it would have went like that, because Donnie always they does a good job too of making sure that they, tell people where they could go for help for certain things, right?
Yeah, that's true.
A person who wasn't skilled in people, I would say, it could have went totally different. They may not have even picked up on it. Nobody would have said anything.
Yeah, or it could have gone weird.
Like David was, okay, they both are aware of the platform they have. And so even probably before he asked the question of, that's why I keep asking you, have you put your hands on her? Because that is getting that dude on camera saying that, his voice at least, right? And it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to put this on the forefront. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just don't know. I just feel like a mental health professional would have been good, but like, who knows if that's going to happen? But I do think that they are,
I think they handled it as well as they could have. Like, I don't even know if I would have been equipped.
The camera's rolling, and then you got to figure out, well, this is an important issue that maybe somebody does need to hear us have this.
And the thing about it is sometimes when things are happening in the moment, I know we're gonna get to this point where it's like, are we being trolled? Is this a like, is this real?
Right,
so
right.
And it's crazy because I think when you're in that moment, there's a number of things that you could do. I was saying that I don't know what I would have done in this situation, because 9 times out of 10, if I'm reacting to it, and this is something I need to, think about, I might have even said in a moment, like, that sounds crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, how is that possible that so sort of the discipline that it would take to not say that, because it did. It
like have a
crazy.
judgmental reaction or whatever.
Yeah, and then that could have really set off some things. So
but
sometimes
let's go into that a little bit though, because I think that most of the people that are there in the audience are people who are there probably, this probably isn't their first time. If it's not their first time, they probably still are in like some way in the morning meetup. Like they probably know them a little bit to be able to come inside. Like I think that they have it set up where you could come by the studio and be in there or whatever. But I don't know how that works. So I'm thinking that, there's some level of comfortability in the room for him to even say what he was saying, right? I don't know. Maybe dude just nobody's ever told him that he shouldn't be controlling his girlfriend like that. But
yeah, maybe nobody ever said anything, or maybe it's a situation where it's so normal and then she goes along with it that it's like, for somebody to call it out, it's gonna hit home. But like sometimes you could trigger violence by even like, he came off as insecure to me.
Which is why I can see, I gotta watch this whole episode, but just from what you're saying, when David said, that's why I keep asking you if you put your hands on her, that, as a man, he probably was getting different things from this guy, right? And so that's what probably made him ask that question. But like normal conversations, no, like a regular person would not have felt comfortable asking him that straight out. I don't think. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you putting your hands on her? Like we're on camera and you know what I mean? So
yeah.
Is this the dude?
Yeah, that's the dude.
See, that's what I'm saying. I think they know him a little bit or whatever. But either way, he should have.
Molly, you in danger, girl. Do you see that comment?
No, I gotta watch that.
It's horrible, yeah. This person right here, Crystal Brew Artist.
I gotta watch it because I gotta see how he came off, because
you in danger, girl. From Ghost. It's not where it's from. Oh God!
I remember where that's from.
That's wild. But anyway, this is nothing to laugh at. But that comment was hilarious because I didn't see it until just then.
Yeah, I gotta watch the episode.
But anyway, yeah, this is not a funny topic. I think it triggered some people. I think it triggered Donnie, and I think I feel funny saying that word after that one show we watched, and they kept saying that word triggered. I was like, oh, here we go. So, but anyway, I think. Yeah, this one was a wild one. But anyway, just a major shout out to them for just being, doing their thing. And so now we're going to get into some other things that have been happening, guys. This first one is wild because I don't even know if we want to show it.
No, we don't need to show that.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think the reason why I don't think that, I'm sorry, I don't think we should show it because people were posting that shit all over Facebook.
Yeah.
And people were getting upset about seeing it over and over because, people died in there.
Yeah.
Conspiracies coming out about this thing, and people are talking about the operation of a tugboat and how people they supposedly use a tugboat to pull out the cargo and all of that stuff. So, with every event, there's always questions about, is it real? How did it happen? Like, how could this, and that was crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. And when I heard about it first, because I don't even know how I heard about it. Maybe I saw like a headline or something, and I was like, surely it wasn't the entire bridge, right? Like, so I was thinking to myself, like, okay, part of the bridge fell out, Da 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 da. But when I saw the actual thing happen,
Mhm.
I was like, this is wild. Like, and then to know like that bridge is, not close by to us, but it's somewhere
And
where
that bridge
we
is
have
like a year
access
older
to.
than me. I think that bridge a year older than me was a year older than me.
But it also just made me understand about like physics and how, I don't know. That was really horrible, tragic the way that happened, but it just made me think like things like you think you're safe because, oh, this is well built and it's been here for 100 years or whatever. But it's like, you really got to be just praying and,
Yeah,
living your
because it
best
happened like
life and just
1:30 in the morning.
like who knew? Nobody would have known. So it's like, anyway.
But I
Shout
have
out
to
to those
say
people's
this.
families and prayers up to the people who were involved. Go ahead.
And I
I'm
have
sorry.
to say this though, because I wanted to look up to see what other bridges have had like, issues where they have had to come down or by accident or whatever. Because that kind of did make me think that's gonna stop people from going that way for a while, right? They're gonna have to find other ways to go, whatever, which is probably gonna cause like more traffic issues because a lot of people probably use that bridge to get, you know, across the damn water. So it's like, it did make me be like, what if more bridges started to come down? Like that would affect people's ability to get out of a place. So you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I started to think about that or whatever. But I
Oh, like
listen,
in
I've
the
always
conspiracy way of like, oh, now these people are
well,
stuck
like
there.
if something happens and people say, "Oh, we got to evacuate," well, there's only one way to evacuate now because, or there's only, there's one less way to evacuate because that
Yeah.
bridge. So that's the line of thinking that people were having. But I mean, in these situations, like the bottom line is we don't know the real information. We were not there. We're relying on the the government and the police officers and the investigating people to give us the background of what happened, right? But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, we just don't know. So everybody's always gonna have like opposing opinions and stuff like that. But it did just kind of make me think, oh shit, wait, that's a way to get away from somewhere, or that's a way that's a one less way to connect people to another side of something, like, right? So I don't know. I was thinking about it like that, but I haven't researched the bridges to see
Yeah,
if
I want to know about that too. I was just trying to search right then and there, but the only bridge collapse that's coming up right now, and probably because of
is
the
that
weather,
one.
is this news. This news, but I would love to know about like the history of um.
I
That's what I'm
hate
saying.
bridges. I hate
History of
bridges.
bridge
Oh god,
collapsing.
I hate bridges. And then they have all these like, why do they have those bridges that like are paper thin that move when the wind blows? Like that's so.
I don't like those. So like apparently they're built to take the wind, and there's some buildings that are built like that. Like, oh, it's got some give if it needs to. Like, nah, buddy, I don't
Yeah,
like that.
no.
But anyway, it's all listen, it does not heighten my faith in bridges, and I already didn't like them. And so now, now we have to use bridges. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But now it's like I'm thinking on a different level of like, okay. I
I
mean,
that
it's
they
not like
just
new fear unlocked,
and
but
then
it's
like
like,
yeah, it's kind of like that for me because it's like I already was like skeptical a little bit, but I'm always thinking along the lines of somebody gonna do something dumb on this bridge, and we need we're gonna have an accident or whatever, right? I don't be thinking that, but I'm just saying those are the thoughts that I'll be thinking versus somebody like the actual bridge falling, right? I never think
mhm.
about, oh, what if this bridge gets hit and falls, like. So that was like I guess a new fear unlock for me for that. It was like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even know because I'm up here driving. but
Mhm.
um but prayers go out to everybody who was affected. I think it was a total of 8 people affected. But when I watched it, one person had gone to the hospital, one person had refused medical attention, and then they were looking for 6. But I haven't looked at it in the last 24 hours, so I don't know.
I did just find an article. I'm about to just text it to you so that you can see. We talk about this next time because it's about the history of um it's about the history of bridge collapses in
Mm-hmm.
US history. But I definitely want to talk about that some more, but I'm about to just link you to it in
I mean,
Yeah,
too, like I be thinking some of these old buildings
definitely
and old bridges need to be rebuilt. Like, okay, 100
right.
years
And are
is
we just out
really
here winging it? Right? Is it worse than Is it worse than we're letting on? And also, it's like nobody has to tell us like,
like
hey,
whose job is it to inspect the bridges? Have you ever
right.
been a bridge inspector?
I don't know. And if there's not someone in charge to do that, hey, everybody, let's make that happen. Because I remember a few years ago, like going to the monument and then
Mm-hmm.
being like, oh, it's not safe to go up right now, but once we finish the construction, it will be. And it's just like, oh, good thing somebody figured that out. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I don't know how that came about, but I would imagine the same thing would be required for bridges. They have to know, just like based on the infrastructure, like, okay, here's who probably would be responsible because the governor had to come out and speak on behalf of the state. So I suppose now people are going to be asking those types of questions like, how did this happen? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we weren't aware that this was a possibility. Like, it was unfortunate and unexpected that I guess the boat lost power or something like that. But it's like,
Well,
I
see,
don't
that's
know.
the thing. We're talking about things as like this is what I was talking about in our last conversation. On the surface, right now, we're talking about an event that everybody that watched the news saw, but our level of understanding is all different. Like we have no idea what the normal process is for cargo boats to get out, or what time they're supposed to leave, or like what usually happens. Like, does the steering go out if the power go out for real? Like we don't know, right? So I want the people who know about those operations to like kind of chime in. I know people are posting stuff on the internet, but sometimes it looks like it's just a picture that somebody put words on, and we don't really know if this is how this actually goes, right?
Yeah. So yeah, and it's
And
like it's a
people are
bunch
saying
of
that
that.
both should have pulled out. Yeah.
That what? People
So I
saying
don't
what?
know. It's but like I said, it's just somebody said that a tugboat should have pulled them out. They always direct those
Oh,
ships
yeah,
out so they don't hit the bridge.
yeah,
But then somebody else also said that the power still works. The steering still works when the power is out.
yeah.
So that wouldn't have mattered. But I don't know how true that stuff is because I don't know about container ships or whatever. But apparently, the ship was involved in something in some other crash some years
Mm.
ago. I haven't finished doing my research or whatever, but I try not to be that person to be like,
Hmm.
it's a conspiracy. But at the same time, it makes you wonder because we still have a whole bunch of bridges and we need to make sure this isn't happening again. It's like how all of the ships and everything that leave and go and come and over 47 years, like how did this not happen before? I don't know.
I don't hate that you call that out because we have to look at things differently. Like, listen, here's the thing: it's not that everything's a conspiracy, but you'd be naive to think that there are no conspiracies, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
some of this shit isn't true. You know what I mean? Some of the narratives that people push are for their gain. So you can't just go through thinking like, oh, assume everything, assume all positive intent. Like, no, that's not the case. You'd be really silly to think that somehow people were protecting you everywhere and protecting the truth. Like you have to know that some of the stuff that you're being sold is not real. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I guess we were just talking about the other day about how Chick-fil-A came out and said something about their chicken is now basically going down a notch. Okay, that's what I read. It didn't say that, but it was like, how KFC basically they're calling it KFC instead of Kentucky Fried Chicken because
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
not right. And
Yes,
it's
people
like,
have been
okay,
accusing them of cloning chickens for years.
if we are eating genetically modified something or whatever we be seeing in those TikToks from people fried chicken at Walmart or whatever, but like if we're eating genetically modified something, the person isn't or the company is not going to come out and lead with that and be like,
Right.
hey, king of fake chicken, come on through the driveway. It's like, no, they're gonna reword it, they're gonna spin it, they're gonna say, hey, you know what we do, we use all vegan straws and serve you this fake chicken in style. Like they're not going to say what they're doing. So I don't think it's unwise for you to call out and say, you know what, is this what we're seeing? Here's a different perspective. What if it was this? Because some of the things that we're being sold are things that we need to take a look at. So I just want to call that out. I don't think you're
Mm-hmm.
weird for doing that at all. Okay, but next, okay, this kind of actually segues into the next topic because it's kind of like it's not a revisit of a previous topic, but it's adjacent to it, I guess. So recently, Fredro Starr has been interviewed, and he's talking about in this clip, like I guess an argument or something, or a relationship between Moesha, I'm sorry, not Moesha, but Brandy and Countess Vaughn, Moesha, on the set of Moesha. So he's talking about how, yeah, they didn't always get along, but he got, he was talking about how, he got kicked off the show or something after the second season. And in this moment, it was like I almost forgot that he was playing a character. And I was like thinking about like Sunset Park or whatever movie that was, and Onyx. And I was like, oh my God, this dude was really everywhere. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was really doing the thing. And I probably still is. I haven't recently seen him in anything, but I'm pretty sure he's still probably around.
Yeah, were you at homecoming that year when they came to Morgan State?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah. Soundtrack, yes.
Yes. So you were with me when I didn't know who Keith Murray was.
Yes. Yes, I was there. Yes, I was there. That was a fun summer or whatever that was. I don't know. It's probably a couple of years, but that wasn't even summer. Homecoming, it was like jacket weather. It was like October.
It was nice. It was nice to us, though. I mean, I don't remember, but I just remember that was a fun time.
But this story is sort of related. That was a fun time. This story is sort of related to. We talked about Monique a little while back there, and Monique had brought up the fact that they hadn't been compensated properly. They had been compensated,
but they were getting
what their salary was, but they weren't after syndication. They should have gotten more money, and they should be getting money residually, and apparently they're not, or it's significant, and like it's a very insignificant amount. So Fredro Starr here again is just calling out how talented Countess Vaughn was and how funny she was, and he was like, they needed her on the show. And then she was so funny and so talented that she went on to get her own spinoff, The Parkers, which I did think was really funny. And it was like different. It wasn't your typical, show. I'm not to say that Moesha was either, but I'm just saying that like Countess Vaughn and Monique, I think, did a great job.
They were believable, and even though we obviously knew they weren't really mother and daughter, like that was a good dynamic. And I think that it probably was like a picture of some things that people were living at that time. You know what I'm saying? Single mom and whatever, you know what I mean? Trying to date and raise your kid and stuff like that. But I do think they have really good chemistry too. But it's unfortunate about the money because they're trying to say there's no money now. That like the show didn't make this money, but you like there was money. So like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? I think they were only getting like 50, what did you say, 55K an episode, but I think it was like that was low apparently. So
I mean, like this was back during the time really after those people on Friends were making like $1 million episode. Not that this was like Friends, like prime time like that, but if you think about it, they were making $1 million. They were making $1 million an episode back in like 1997. So The Parkers was out maybe like 2006, 2007, maybe. I don't know. I got to go back and look. But like it was after that. So not that they were going to necessarily be making $1 million an episode, but I would think they would be making like at least like, $100,000 an episode or something like that. I don't know. I do remember when they were everywhere. It was like part of after school programming. Like I don't know if it was UPN or I can't remember what channel.
I can't remember.
It was a big deal. I would have thought they were making. Well, listen, that's probably a lot of money.
But you said Friends. Friends is a spinoff of Living Single. Well, not even.
Oh, it was like a duplicate. It was like
It was. Somebody must have asked that guy who created it what show would he put on TV or something, and he said Living Single, and then he popped up with Friends. So, but not surprised there.
Not surprised there either. But anyway, so that's what's going on over there. And the Fredro Starr interview is kind of hilarious because he then later goes on to spin it and talk about how like maybe they were acting. Maybe I didn't really see it. I was like, he tried to clean that up and walk that back, but no, we heard you, bruh. they probably didn't get along, which is fine. They both got, he's right, they did get 2 shows out of it though. But anyway, all right, on to the next. Guys, we got to talk about this, even though it's not a fun topic and we haven't been following this story very closely because it's like, you know, a little bit dramatic. And anyway, let me get to it. So,
Oh
yeah,
God.
talking about Diddy, guys. Diddy is, you know, this whole situation when Cassie came out, I knew that it wasn't going to go away. You know what I'm saying? I knew that it wasn't going to go away, but I didn't necessarily sort of put together that there's other people who are going to keep coming out. Like, and I also was like, you know, kind of expecting that people would even make accusations, but like these people are backing things up with facts. You know, there's a recent raid that happened at his home where, you know, there were pictures that came out about like, you know, how they left the property, but it's like that's what happens in a raid. You know what I'm saying? They're not in there to you know,
Yeah. No.
dry cleaning. They're in there looking for something. You know what I mean? And
Right.
there's a couple of different takes on that, but I. I'm gonna go ahead and jump out there, guys. I think he did this stuff, and I don't like, you know. Listen, I don't know him. I wasn't there. He still has to have his, you know, maybe time in court, maybe settlements or whatever. But it doesn't seem terribly, you know, out of the question. And if it doesn't seem terribly out of the question that somebody would do things this sinister, I don't know if that says something about me, but you know, this is a wild story, but I believe it.
I agree with you. And when it first happened, like, I think because we're so used to people not getting caught about stuff, right? We like situations in the past as in, that we've all seen in the public, like, well, this guy probably did this or whatever, and nothing, you know, nothing happens. So I think that we're in a different time now, and I think that, you know, shit. How old is Diddy? Because you're talking about just, you know, just think about the average amount of things that a person does over the course of their life. And if he was doing all of this shady shit, and then he had to have been collecting different people along the way doing the shit with him.
I think he's
54. A lot of people. He's what?
54.
Okay. A lot of people, you know, probably seen certain stuff. It's a lot of people that probably seen certain stuff and just didn't say nothing, but weren't involved in it. But now they're going to be mentioned because they were in places that these things happen. They knew, you know, about some of these things, whatever. So with the raid, I heard that his plane landed somewhere, but he wasn't on it. But then the houses that got raided, his kids were there, but I heard they were a part of the sex ring or something like that. I don't know what's going on. It's so much information flying. I have to find somebody who's like looking at all of the information so I can like see what's happening. Because at this point, it's like it's like a snowball that's out of control. You know what I'm saying? From the point that Cassie came out and all the stuff they're saying now, they're naming other people who might be brought down. And then I saw a post about 50 Cent's child's mother or something being involved. I don't know how true that is.
Daphne Joy, yeah.
He's still posting online talking about he want the tapes or whatever. It's crazy. So I don't have any idea what's going on. Like, but I do think that this is going to be bigger than everybody thought it was going to be. I think that everybody thought that the, you know, Bill Cosby and R. Kelly thing was just like a, you know, a shocker or whatever. But I think that this is a person that probably orchestrated a lot of the things that have gone on. Things that we probably don't even know about. Like I was telling Earl, whatever it is that we imagine that's going on, it's probably like way worse than that. You know what I'm saying? Because some of these things our minds would not fathom to do because it's just not, you know. But people have imposed this picture with Epstein. And I think you said somebody imposed this picture with somebody else.
With Bill Cosby. I'm just looking at this. TMZ has this Diddy through the years slideshow. I'm not going to put it up because I don't want to get like copyright or whatever. But
be
It's
tripping.
crazy because one of the things that's so unbelievable about this, and I guess it's just human nature that I just go along and assume that, you know, what you see is what you get. And I never realized, like, some of the stuff that he's been accused of, I can't imagine how much energy you would have to pull all this stuff off and then show up, you know what I'm saying, and do all of these jobs. It's like wild to me because I'm like, how did you have the energy to have these freak offs and then go and do, well, there's some drugs involved. But also, even that, it's just like, how are you still alive after you've consumed that many substances? Like, I don't even know how that happens. But another part of this that's interesting to me is, yeah, I heard some of those stories too. Now, I don't want to give, I would love, just like you said, to find somebody who's really covering this, because I want to know so many things. Like, his sons got arrested. That is a fact. But some of the stuff I recognize, like, people, make up and they tack things on and they're like, oh yeah, sons got arrested because they were this. And it's like, I don't know if they were
For sure.
charged. I don't really know. Maybe they were, but they were in handcuffs because, I mean, hey, listen, you're in this spot that we came in to raid. We're going to assume you're guilty by way of, like, we have a warrant to raid this place. So,
but the crazy thing is, I feel like, yes, somebody probably knew that was going to happen, right? It's just, it looks like he just left his kids out there to be, because where the hell is he?
I don't think he would have known it was going to happen. I think that's part of the
I think
part of the surprise.
I think that when stuff like this is happening, I think that there's an inkling in the person's mind who's, like, involved in it all. Like, it could happen at any time.
Yeah.
But where's he?
I don't know where he was during the time. There was they raided his Miami home too. So this is where I thought he was. Time. This is where I thought he was, right?
They did at the same time, but no, his private jet was on the way from somewhere.
Oh, so maybe you're saying he got out of there.
When his private jet landed, they were going to get him, and he wasn't in the private jet. So
I see what you're saying.
I'm like, where the fuck is he? And he didn't.
How were you not on your own private jet when
when both of your houses raided at the same time? You were
and we don't know where you are.
Yourself away, but you left your kids just hanging out there. Then also his drug mule, I guess, got stopped in the airport in Miami as well that day. Was arrested. I can't remember what the actual charges were for that person. Did I see that Young Miami got exposed as a sex worker? I don't know if that was on the
yeah, I saw that too. That was somebody's claim in a lawsuit.
The claim, okay.
So people are saying that this is racist somehow because, I mean, I understand. They said they raided Trump's place and nobody was in handcuffs. I didn't make that connection, but also Trump was the United States president, so they probably are not even going to do to him
what they would do to
a regular person. So I kind of see how that. But I mean, honestly, I would have been concerned for people's lives because a lot of times these officers want to shoot their guns.
That's true.
That's just going to say, luckily that there was no misunderstanding or whatever about that, because sometimes, like, when that kind of stuff happens, it just goes into cover-up mode, and then certain facts are never found. It's just like,
right.
Well, so I'm glad everybody is at least, safe. It sucks that they had to be in handcuffs, but you know what? Martha Stewart was arrested. Like, people survive being arrested. I remember Paris Hilton got arrested, and she was crying in the back of the thing. Do you remember when Paris Hilton got arrested?
I do remember that. But for this situation, like, I just can't believe, I have to believe that this has probably been a family discussion.
Yeah.
I just feel like, if this happens, whatever, because that Bama knows all of the stuff that he was involved in and all of that. And now, like, when did the Cassie thing come out? In November?
November. It was November, yeah.
So
November,
it's been 5 months, and yeah, like, wherever Russell Simmons is probably where Diddy is.
Let me take us here real quick, because there's a couple of different takes that I wanted to talk about when it comes to this. So first off, is Cameron. Cameron saying on his podcast with, not Cameron, excuse me, Mace. Mace is saying on his podcast with Cameron that he escaped all of this, that he didn't have to go through a lot of the stuff that he witnessed, like with Shine and Biggie, because he escaped this sort of, I could have sworn Mace was after Biggie, but maybe he got out of there. I got to go back and look, but I think that
I thought he was after Diddy too. He was definitely there while Diddy was. I mean, Biggie was here, right? I thought he was after him too, though, or maybe at the same time. I don't know.
I felt like maybe it was 1998 when Mace was really. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. He's saying he got out of there. He definitely got out of there. I think before the whole Shine thing happened, because at the time the Shine thing happened, I don't think Mace was around. But here's the deal. That lady's coming out too and saying, no, Diddy shot me. And, you know, once the case reopened, there's a lot of stuff happening around this, which again, you know, it looks really bad. I'm not trying to accuse somebody before they're convicted of something, but the fact that people are coming out of the woodworks with stories that corroborate these people's stories, and Cassie's story, I mean, come on, guys. She came so legit. I had never seen something be resolved so quickly in my life.
No, and see, the thing about right now is that, like, you know, as we go forward and years to come, technology gets better and better and better. And during the time that all this was happening, there was so many probably videos taken of this. He probably doesn't know who has what. You know what I'm saying? People who have stuff probably are scared to release it. So, you know, this, I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
You pick it, you see a little string or something hanging off your clothes, and then you like, well, let me snatch this off, and then it unravels the whole thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what this is gonna be, because we're 5 months in, and in 5 months he settled a lawsuit. All these people came out, and now his homes were raided, and now he was, you know, he's not nowhere to be found. People are like, you know, well, I don't think there are any tapes. Now, I disagree, because if there wasn't anything to find, one, why are they raiding the home? Right? Mm-hmm. Two, why are you running? You know what I'm saying?
Why aren't you? Yeah. There's no not even like, why aren't you home? But you're not on the private jet, and they expect you to be on the private jet. Somebody landed that jet and let him off because he was probably high. And look, I ain't gonna say it.
So the question is, where do you think he landed? Like, or where do you think he?
I think that the pilot likely got wind
here, and where was he coming from?
The pilot likely got wind of the information, and they listen. I could tell you because I was there.
That nigga probably in Europe somewhere chilling.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened because I was there and I witnessed it. I gotta stop. I don't want to get in trouble, but like, it's a joke, everyone.
I don't want to get in trouble.
I think that it's very interesting that he was nowhere to be found when all of these professionals, and obviously was like $100,000 or more raid, like all of those people were getting paid to show up to work that day with all of those fancy weapons and everything, and all their gear and all their
powwow beforehand. Like,
so they spent a lot of money to raid him at 2 different places
at the same
and
time.
Check and say, okay, so for everybody to be there and keep a secret. So I think that it's likely that they have a reason to be looking for something. And I think that it's very interesting that after all the money that the state and whoever, Homeland Security, spent to do that, they still didn't find him that day, which means to me that
they can't find Diddy. That's crazy.
That somebody cued him in, because obviously they had been watching him. So somebody
watching hard enough if he was able to get off the plane before they met the plane. Yeah.
Well, probably because it's probably a law or a rule that, you know, you have to have the flight plans approved and all that stuff. Anyway, look, I'm all off on a whole nother tangent. Like, from the tangent that I just jumped off on to get to this tangent, I'm on a compound tangent. But
so yeah, we'll just say, like, this is a where's Waldo situation, where's Diddy, right?
Now look, here's another take on this story. Your boy Albie Shore is out here sending very cryptic messages. Now, this one is from, oh, wait, it says 4 hours ago. Was this for today? I don't know, but there was another message I saw. It had to be in the last 48 hours where he was putting it in. And also, Jaguar Wright talks about this sometimes. And I believe her. Basically, though, I'll be sure, he's very vocal about what happened to him back in 2022, where his organs basically shut down, and he's got something on his page. The nurse is talking about what happened there. It was a very odd the timing, because apparently he had a movie or something that was coming out, and not everybody, but there's speculation about Kim Porter's death. And we've all heard Jaguar Wrights speak about how all of the people who were in Uptown Records and around Diddy at those times, they've all passed away. And it's like, okay, it's like very interesting is what I'm saying. So, but I'll Be Sure is out here.
His son look just like him.
The way that he's posting, it's like, I don't know if he's like fearful of his life or something. Cause it's like, what are you talking about? And
yeah, I can see. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'll just land it here, because the last post that I saw that I was looking for, but I couldn't find. I could probably find if I look really hard. Was this post of him saying, it's basically like, y'all, everything ain't what it seems like, or something like that. It was like him and the nurse, and it was like I think it was one of those stories. So I can't find it now, but it was another cryptic message, basically like, it's everything isn't what it seems. Da, 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 da. But this one is weird. This came out 4 hours ago, apparently. Come home. His letter to my son. Come home. The door's wide open. You're safe here. Your pops, your biological. So obviously that's a shot, because it's like, who's known as his pops that's not biological? Obviously it's Diddy. So I don't understand what's happening here, or why he would post this and not just text it, but I don't know.
I don't know. So I think that, like I said, we are looking at it, and logical things are not going to make sense because we don't know all the details, right? And he probably cannot come out and say exactly what he wants to, because that's what he was doing before he got sick. And the shit that he had wrong with him, he should not be here. Like, he had complete organ failure and all these other things that lady listed in that video. I could not imagine sitting there listening to somebody tell me how I've recovered from all of that. Like, so I imagine that, yeah, he can't just come out here and say anything, because he knows what happened to Kim. He knows what happened to him. There's also a question of the whole Jamie Foxx thing or whatever. So, that speaks volumes to me or whatever. And what's this? This is Quincy, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I noticed he has been posting pictures of him and stuff like that. I don't know what is happening, but like I said, like, we don't know who's involved in what. You know what I'm saying? We have no idea, but I do think that I'll Be Sure cannot speak like he would want to speak.
Here's another take on it, and this one's going to shock you that I'm bringing this up. It's almost shocking me. But lately, Candace Owens has been out here in these internet streets trying to, what I would call, trying to sort of like get the black vote. Not even like in a way where she's going to affect anything, but she's been doing things recently that are more palatable, I guess. And she's like gone on like Joe Budden's podcast, and she's said some things about like, taking up for certain people in the black community, but it's also like, I don't know with her, right? Like, but she's not always wrong, is what I'm saying. So, we don't know what she's doing, but I have my theory.
Fresh and Fit is?
Probably.
So I
gotta look it up, because
they do these podcasts where they have like women come and they talk about different topics, but they really control their, I guess the I don't even want to call it a meeting, the podcast. They control it, right, by asking whatever questions they want to ask, and they kind of get into back and forth with some of the women, but you can tell that they're like displaying whatever personality flaw they think the person has. They're just gonna go back and forth with them to be able to say she's argumentative. not gonna find a man or whatever. But anyway, I was searching through YouTube the other day and something came up and Candace Owens was on Fresh and Fit. And I was like, that just kind of made me look at her a little bit different. I haven't really listened to, I gotta go listen to her more. I heard the things that everybody says about her and stuff like that. And from what people have said, I was shocked to see that she went on Fresh and Fit. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, you know, I don't know, like somebody that says that they eat fine dining, but then you see them at the carryout. I'm not saying that they're the carryout, but just the way that their show goes and how it gets, I just was surprised to see a person like her engage in it. But you know, it's something for everybody or whatever. But I just wanted to add that little side.
I think she's up to something. She's got something coming out because she's now trying to be more marketable or something. She's trying to show some different side of herself. Because a few years ago, I know I didn't get this wrong. She did not care. She did not care. She was saying what she wanted to say, and it was obviously beneficial to her in the ways of getting, you know, white conservative attention. So I don't know if she's now like, okay, I don't want to accuse this lady of anything, but I'll just go ahead and say it. I think she's got the sort of like white conservative approval. And now, you know, in my opinion, she could be trying to play people and being like, well, it's easy to get blacks on my side. Watch. Like, I'll just go and, because I think a lot of people think that. It's like, you know, those gold sneakers that came out trying to get people to vote for, what's his name? It's like, look, man, like there's a certain level you take this to where, you know, it's insulting. So I don't know. I just have to see what she's doing.
That's what I mean about when she went on that podcast, because I would think that, you know, you would, as a public figure, you would be thinking about how stuff comes off. But you're right. She might be trying to make it look like she can get other people's support.
Right. Like, I've talked to them. I feel like she's doing sort of like a press tour, just so she could say, yeah, I'm not afraid to talk to anybody about anything. And these are my views. But you didn't go talking about your views on those platforms. You know, she's made such a spectacle of herself that people know her for something negative. I can say that. People know her associated with a negative sort of, you know, vibe. That's not inaccurate. Okay. That's a fact. I didn't call it a fact, but you know, she's known as being controversial. I'll say that. Right. So for her to come out now, I'm not trying to be overly judgmental. I also don't want to be naive in the way that, like, okay, just a few weeks ago or just a short year ago, you were all up on this very, you know, much so saying this, repeating this rhetoric. And now just because you're not mentioning that doesn't mean that goes away. It just means that, okay, you can, you know, put on a nice t-shirt and come over here and say hello. But that doesn't mean that the things that you said and the things that you've said you believe are less, you know, I don't know, are less important. Like, I don't know. Anyway,
but I do want to address her comment though, because if she is saying this, like, this is a point, right? It's not, you know, the main point, but it's a thought, right? She says that they are, he's going to be the fall guy of a sex trafficking ring, and they're raiding to hide evidence and not find it. Now, this case aside, that could be something that happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again, we don't know all the particulars, and we don't know everything that's going on. And so something like this, all you got to do is come out and take a stance, and you're going to have, you know, you're going to get the people who agree with that to go along with it. And because, I mean, it could happen. You know what I'm saying? But, like, come on. I feel like we all know that even though we don't know exactly what's going on, we know that he was very heavily involved in it. And
for sure,
he probably does have somebody to answer to. But, you know.
Well, see, here's the difference. Not difference, but, like, here's the thing that comes up to me. Like, this could be a possible thing that happens. Okay, they could be hiding evidence, but he, like you said, he was obviously a part of something, and that is the risk that you run when you're playing dirty, because if somebody plays dirtier, then your hands aren't clean. So it's different than when you're like doing something legally or doing something with high integrity and someone does something and it's like you can call them out or you can stand on something. But here it's like if you got set up with the setup,
it's kind of like, you're gonna go buy some drugs and they didn't give you all your drugs. Are you gonna call the police and tell them?
Right. They got me out of my money after I wanted to buy drugs.
It's just really,
Yeah. It's unfortunate
like I say, I think that I think, yeah, it is. And I think that we have no idea how crazy it really is. That's just my opinion. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's crazier than we can imagine. Agreed. So, and I feel like people that people who are involved in it, we're going to probably be so shocked at some of the people. But some of the people, I don't feel like we're going to be shocked. We're going to be like, that makes total sense or whatever. So
I agree. I definitely agree. I think we have a little bit of a delay. I'm sorry. I feel like I keep cutting, but I'm not cutting you off, but I keep cutting you off. Like it doesn't seem like I'm cutting you off when I cut you off, but then when you stop talking, you're right in the middle of your sentence, and I'm like, wow, did I do that? So I think we might be experiencing a delay, but
yeah, okay, I think so.
Okay, I'm going to talk about this next story. Now, listen, the next section that we're in, we're probably going to be about 20 minutes over here. So not that long, but this is also another thing having to do with music. And, recently, Usher has been out here in these streets. This is not even about Usher, but I just see him in this clip. And I'm like, this is Donnie Wahlberg giving flowers to New Edition because he's like, nobody would exist, no boy bands, not NSYNC, not Backstreet Boys, not anybody without New Edition. And I love to hear that. I love to hear that, especially coming from one of the new kids on the block. But the idea that I think he was one of the new kids on the block. Listen, if he wasn't, sorry guys. But so I'm gonna look it up right after this. But Usher actually is pictured right there. He was actually giving some flowers to Bobby Brown recently, talking about how he looked up to him and stuff like that. And when he went to come visit him, and they were dancing together and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Unlike the things that are coming out about him and Diddy, like Usher and Diddy. When he
some stuff coming out about that too.
I mean, everywhere, everywhere.
He was anyway back then or whatever, but you were right. It's New Kids on the Block. It's Mark Wahlberg, Donnie Wahlberg, Jonathan Knight, Jordan Knight, and Joey McIntyre, and Danny Wood. But you were right. Mm-hmm. She said,
Mark Wahlberg, yo, that's crazy. He's lived like 7 lives, young. I'm telling you, he has, young. It's like he's an actor. He was a rapper. He was even in his acting career,
he did do a lot.
Drama. He does comedy. He does. It's wild. Like he's out there, and he's known for other things. Like apparently he has like this amazing home gym. Anyway, that's so funny because I'm like, let's go take it back to 80s Donnie Wahlberg, back in the New Kids on the Block days, which must have been before his solo career, I'm thinking. Anyway, wow, that guy's lived a bunch of lives. This is really nice for me to see because number one, I was around when New Edition was around, and I've always thought this about them, that they are just timeless. But when it's happening in real time, it's just happening, so you can't really prove it. But I remember when we were listening to like Mr. Telephone Man and like, even when they got older and they would do oh man, there's so many songs. Can You Stop the Rain? Or like there were so many things, and then BBD came out of that. But yeah, it's nice to see them get their flowers because we really liked them. And still do. In other music news, Escape and SWV is on tour. So the next thing that I'm going to say is there's a bunch of people touring this summer. But I'm not saying I'm going to all of these, but I just feel like we're here. We might as well tell people. I saw this as a clip where...
Total? Okay, at 702? Yeah. That's a bomb little R&B.
That's a bomb tour. That is a bomb tour. I think this one is going to be where we are in August, maybe? Or no, that was somebody else. This is going to be in July. Let's see, the tickets were only like $95, though. So there's that, but I didn't plan on going to this one. I know we're going to see Chris Brown this year. That's a given. I don't care what else happens. We're going to see Chris Brown, which is why we're not going to be able to make that podcast summit. But at the same time, at the same time, like this is $95. If something were to happen, and this is not a bad tour. I like this tour.
I don't think so either. Like if it's like, oh, we can actually go, then all right, yeah.
That's a good night out.
I mean, I'm happy that they're still doing it because when we were watching the show that they were doing, they were having some problems figuring out their shows and stuff like that. So it's good to see that they push through for the sake of business and, their fans.
You know what's funny? I'm just laughing. Like whenever I pull up an Instagram, the third host is the comments because I always see something in the comments. I'm like, we cannot deny these days. Like we used to get advertised through TV and radio, and those are very like controlled environments. Like somebody has to approve the things that go out. But like here, it's like, okay, I'm looking up a flyer and I can't help but see some of these comments, right? Latasha, talking about Latasha, and just to address that, she's not pictured on this flyer, and she's not pictured on the website or their page. When I go to their page, it's like the three of them doing promo. So I don't think that she's with them.
Okay, so
which is a shame in some ways because I was listening to one of their songs the other day, just randomly came on the radio, and the way she did it, I think it might have been Just Kick It. And I was like, yo, yeah, that's what it was. Because she has these runs, and in the way she opened up one of these notes, it was like, wow, the whole song was made by those runs. I'm sorry, everybody. Tasha made that song. But anyway, that wasn't what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say was, I don't think she's with them anymore. I remember the drama that was happening around like her taking money and stuff. And but I don't think.
What was the most something recently happened in the last couple of months that came out, and it was something bad, but I can't remember. I can't remember exactly what it was. So so they did have issues, and so she's not with them. I didn't realize that she wasn't on the flyer. Damn, I gotta go back and look into that.
Yeah, and then she's not on there. She's not on their page either. Because I was looking at that. I was like, okay, I mean, like she's on this page, right, with this picture, but that was from.
That's messed up too because
like here on their promo, this is the thing that I saw.
Her sister is in the middle, like she's beefing with her sister, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's kind of unfortunate, but I gotta look through and see what actually happened.
Yeah, she's not listed. I mean, I like just even looking at pictures of them and stuff. Like, I don't think that she's gonna be, But hey, listen. It would be a reason to keep their name out there. So, maybe this is all, maybe they'll get back together at some point, but who knows? I don't see it happening. So anyway, so one of the last things we'll talk about is, okay, so Usher's also on tour. I don't plan on going to see him this year. Like, I love him. I think he's great, but I think I'm going to see Chris Brown, and that's the only thing that I'm absolutely definitely going to do. And so he's coming to DC in August, which I'm not moved. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so glad that he is doing well and then he did the Super Bowl. I really was shocked at the number of albums that he pushed because I felt like he should have gotten a lot more. Like, I'm not following him, but I would, but I don't feel the need to. But also, he has like 13 million followers. You would think that he would sell at least 1 million albums. But he's independent on this album, so that might have something to do with it as far as like, I don't know, people think there's mechanisms and systems in place to keep people who are independent from seeing a large amount of money. I don't know how true that is, but it's very odd to me that he didn't at least do 1 million. But anyway, he sold out this tour almost. All of these
white has that Vegas residency too, so people probably see him there as well. Like, I wouldn't mind going to that.
I think that ended. I thought that ended.
Oh, he doesn't do it anymore. Okay, I'm behind. He did it for years. He did it for almost 5 years, I think. But
He could always go back to it, but I mean, I think he's been there, done that. He's touring right now, or starting in August, and yeah, he's just I guess probably still promoting his album, but I'm seeing him a lot in the media, so I wonder if he has some other things that
I
he's
mean,
working on.
listen, okay, he's probably involved in this Diddy shit as well. Like, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? So you just never know, man, because these people have probably seen a lot. You know what I mean? Not saying that he's involved with, what Diddy was doing, but like just him being in the vicinity, he probably saw a lot. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
you know, everybody's going on these tours. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, okay, I'm gonna definitely shout him out. Like, sure, uh, he should do his thing. I'm not gonna go to this one though. I mean, nothing wrong, but I just I've
Okay.
got some folks that I've lined up for this year.
Let's
Okay.
go back real quick because I just looked this up because there's something that came out about Latasha Scott recently or that situation.
Oh, okay.
I can't find it, but when I put in like why is Latasha Scott not performing, it says this is based on who is this? The Collider.com. I don't know who that is, but it says the additional three members of Escape have managed to transcend their issues as a group and instead focus on maintaining their legacy. Latasha has refused to perform with the group because of her own inability to swallow her pride and apologize to her sister and the rest of the group.
Where
So
is this from?
I just put it in Google and it's the first article that came up. So I don't know how true that is, but I gotta find what I saw last because whatever I saw last put me in the mind frame of that Latasha probably does need to apologize. Like something came out. I feel like something came out that I don't know. I gotta look and see. So I don't want to say that, but she's 50. But yeah, so I don't know. I gotta do some more research about that because that's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't imagine like having some people are saying reality TV broke the sisters up, but no, like there was something else there that happened. It just happened to be caught on reality TV because I just couldn't imagine like even having to I wouldn't even let it get to the point where we're about to hash out some shit on TV that we hadn't talked about. I don't know. That's just me. But and then I mean for me, this where I would not I don't know, man. I can't put myself in this situation or whatever, but it does suck that's where they are, 2024, because I could see if it was I could almost understand it if it was her and one of the other group members, but it's her and her sister. Like her sister's involved in it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna figure out what I saw, and then I'll let you know on the backside. I'm not gonna find it right now, but it was something that I came across.
We're definitely going to revisit that topic because I mean we're probably going to talk more about the tour and all that stuff. Anyway, let me take this Usher thing down because we're not even talking about them anymore. This is the last story we're going to cover today.
Yes, because then I got to go make these shirts. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So, obviously, headline here. So first of all, happy early birthday, right? So your birthday is tomorrow, same day as the debut of this, Beyonce gifted you with an album. Happy birthday to you. Okay, it's going to be called Cowboy Carter. Now, I want to mention, it's fun to mention this now because this Azealia Banks story came across, and I want to talk about that, but also my hopes for this album, right? Are that, so number one, just socially, that she's going to use the attention that comes from this to highlight some of the Black country artists in this space that have been doing it for years and not getting the shine that she's about to get. So I hope she doesn't come over here into that space here. I've not been in that space. Even though I will say this, there's all these things going around about like, oh, Black people don't listen to country music. I am not one of those Black people because I was forced to. I've worked at 2 steakhouses that only played country music. So I worked at those steakhouses for at least 8 years of my life combined. So I do know a thing or two about country music and about line dancing. And so, I mean, like, I do have an expectation of what I'm going to hear. I don't think it's going to be classic, country music, like, as far as like what you would think, because she's an R&B artist and some of that's going to come through. So I think it's going to be a fusion, but I'm hoping that just the machine of her camp is not going to come through and overshadow the Black artists that have been struggling to be recognized even in the space, because that would be tragic, especially because she's bringing a big spotlight to this side. Like, country music don't need no spotlight. I mean, like Carrie Underwood is singing the NFL song or whatever. Like these people have been around for years that are on top of country music, like,
yeah, and to be honest, country music bangs. You just
I don't know what I'm saying is, I hope that she comes with I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. I hope that she comes with some, sort of regard for the people who have been in the space, that have been struggling in that space, to be recognized as artists. And when she comes with her big machine, I hope that she shines like a couple of spotlights on some of the people who have been doing this, because she has not been doing this. And this is what I want to say. Now, she does have roots, but she could have decided at any one of her projects over the last, she's put out, at least with Destiny's Child and others, with Jay-Z, she has at least 13 projects. I'm just going to jump out there and say she's at least 13 projects with those things. So, and she's had some country-esque records, but she could have been done a country album. So the fact that she's coming over here, I feel like it's a big deal. And I'm ready to celebrate it. I'm ready to hear this stuff, but that's all I'll say about that.
Well, I hope she doesn't let you down. I hope so. Her putting that birthday gift on me and James's birthday. You know what I'm saying? So I'm ready to hear, because I feel like she can put out anything she wants to right now. This now part of her career, I think, is about expressing whatever she wants to do, because she's not dependent on how well it does. You know what I mean? So
right.
So yeah, but then there's also the element of people are throwing Jay-Z's name around in this Diddy situation as well.
I know.
And so just to play the other side of the fence, like, she probably seen a lot too and knows a lot, right? And
absolutely,
I feel like she's been taking this time to set herself up, right? If something does happen, she's still going to be good to go. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure.
But that's what people are saying. I don't know how true it is, but
I don't know how true it is either. But here's the thing that we have all witnessed: they've been around each other for years. As far as like Diddy and Jay-Z, like they've been pictured together, at least twice a year for the past 2 years. You know what I mean? Did you hear that statistic I put out there? Now I'm gonna go look for it. I think they've been pictured together at least twice a year for the last 20 years. I'm going to say yes to that, because they've been at basketball games and award shows and parties.
Freak-offs.
So first, oh my God, this one. Oh my God, I didn't say that, guys. But I mean, just thinking about the fact that like Diddy normally has a Halloween party. The Carters normally throw a brunch. And I'm not saying they've been doing that for the last 20 years. They weren't together for 20 years. But what I'm saying is there have been several events where I've seen them pictured together. And so I'm just going to go out there and say that, like, if Diddy was going this hard, it's no way he was hiding all of this from everybody. Like, Jay-Z knew about this. Also, Jay-Z was tied to R. Kelly at some point when they had that whole album. Funny how that just disappeared from the internet. Like, I couldn't even find what the name of it was. It was like the best of both worlds or something like that. Anyway, I couldn't even go find any music from that. Maybe I didn't look that hard, but I was just like, wow, that totally disappeared. Like, we can't even find any remnants or traces of that. But it's like those things when you showed me, like, that changed over the years, like the Bernstein Bears, and it's like that. It's like with Sinbad in that one movie about the genie.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. The Mandela effect. That is crazy. I know for a fact that I watched that movie.
Your mind's playing tricks on you. I watched that movie. And R. Kelly and Jay-Z never worked together. But so the point is that yeah, I'm not accusing Jay-Z of anything, but it would be weird if he had never seen anything all the times he's been around Diddy. But I mean, it's not to say that he's responsible for him.
Because it's not even just him being around Diddy; it's the other people he knows as well. Like it could go so deep. Like, did you refer somebody to him for something? Were you here at this party? Did you know this happened?
Yeah,
like it could probably go so deep. You know what I mean?
Jaguar Wright has some things about him too.
And Jaguar Wright has been on here on YouTube for a while, and she has talked a lot about a lot of these people, Diddy, Jay-Z, and all of them or whatever. But she got herself involved with some like other stuff that kind of took away from her credibility of what she was saying about that. So when she first came out, like everybody was like, yeah. But now it's like, I don't really know. I don't really know what parts are, because she's a good storyteller, right?
Yeah.
She's a really good storyteller. So I'm pretty sure she's not, she's saying people are after her too. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know what to believe at this point. But yeah, she has said stuff about what they got going on, and she even had like a personal shot, not a personal shout out, but she was on a video one day and she was just like, "Shout out to Cassie. I know what happened," or something like that.
I saw that too. I think I know what you're talking about.
I feel like this is just going to be bigger than we thought, and like I said, it's probably so many people involved.
Man. And I mean, it's a small world. It's like these people, there's only one New York. There's only one scene of
only one Hollywood.
And it's like, okay, of course you guys will bump into each other. And if this is the type of thing that's taking place, then that's why sometimes people be coming out with these stories like from Hollywood that are like, I can't believe that happened. It's like, you wouldn't believe, like the setting, the things that happen here, like the stage is set with, I've never been to Hollywood, but I just imagine that like there's just like cocaine and money and drugs and prostitutes everywhere. You know what I mean? Like you go to some of these parties and it's like, it's a table full of dicks just right there. Like, like everybody just picked their party favor and just started poking people. And I had to get out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn right. Good job. But anyway, I'm saying all that to say, I don't know what's out there. I don't know what's, but I know that if I were in a situation where it was a normal behavior, right? Like, oh, there's always this around. There's always that around. I didn't notice the guy doing the really bad crime because there was all these other crimes happening.
Right.
So I thought, I didn't know where I was, right? Like, It's so funny too how much crime I witnessed that was not like I wasn't partaking in, but it's just like not a big thing. It's just like, okay, yeah, they're just doing that. It is what it is, And it's like I never thought as a young person, like, you better get out of here. There's crimes happening. She's like, oh, just a little crime. It's fine. I'm safe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm safe. Nothing's gonna happen to me. They're just, so that's so funny. Anyway, this is the end of the story right here. Azalea Banks calls out Beyonce, and listen, I'm not gonna say points weren't made. She made some points, but the thing that's overarchingly disturbing for me about this is that. So obviously Azalea Banks is somewhat of a fan of Beyonce's, which I never would have considered that. I guess I don't know. Maybe I just made too many maybe I overlooked that somehow. But she was saying they still owe you a rock Grammy for Sugar Mama, which I do think was a rock song, and I could see that. But Azalea Banks seems a little unstable to me sometimes, so I don't know when to take her seriously and when to be like, okay, she's having a situation or a crisis or something. Because the overarchingly disturbing thing about this whole post, like, she went in and she had some points, but I was like, how could you study another person to this degree, right, and not have your own endeavors go forward in a way? It's just like, I don't know that I could study someone to this extent and not I don't know, be healthy, be okay with that. Like, she just had a lot of information, and I was just like,
you just said the answer. She's spending all her time studying the other person.
Yeah.
She's spending no time on studying herself.
Yeah, so this is interesting. And she was talking about Beyonce and what fans want from her and stuff, but I don't know. I guess I don't take it seriously enough. Like, I don't think that she's a devil worshiper or whatever people think about her. I think she's out there just trying things, and I think she's a hard worker, and everybody's going to come to their conclusion, just like we talked about conspiracy theories and stuff earlier. Like, obviously, no one knows the whole truth. She could be out here doing these things and
I
be
have my
responsible.
own view. I feel like she's a slave, not a slave, but I feel like she's a prisoner. That's what I feel. I feel like, yes, she does perform well, stuff like that, but I feel like she's not free. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. I feel like if she could say all the stuff she wanted to say, it'd be a lot of shit probably said. But I mean, she lives for her performances, and everything goes into that. Like, she is, I just don't think she's free. But I think Azalea Banks is funny. Is a funny person. I think she was probably being truthful about her needing a Grammy for her song. I remember that song, but
yeah, I remember that whole album was good.
Yeah, I didn't read her full post though.
Yeah, I mean, there's no you could if you wanted to. It's amusing. Like, she makes some really good points about like the cultural implications of Beyonce doing this whole whitewash thing with the flag and all that. And I understand that. And she also made a slightly similar point to what I was saying about the Black people in country music. However, I wasn't accusing her of anything. I'm not accusing Beyonce of anything. If anything, I think she wants to put out a country record and she's just gonna do that. You know what I mean?
Because she's from Texas, so I'm pretty sure she is gonna be bomb. You know what I'm saying?
But she's making these accusations that are like, okay, and then she's saying from a fan's perspective, I guess, you should be like this. I don't think that's fair to say about anybody. You can't really have expectations of people like that. Like, sure, if you have an employee, you have an expectation of your employee. You have a mom or a family member that you trust, you expect them to be respectful. But you can't really have expectations of someone like this in the way where it's like, we want you to be avant-garde and this and that and shift our culture. Like, I think that's a heavy charge. Like, I don't even think like the people who have done that, like Prince, I don't really know how much intentional, I don't know, I don't know how much went into that other than this is me, this is what I know, this is what I feel, and this is what I'm expressing. And I'm going to use my artistry to express myself and take it or leave it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't like the album, don't buy the album, don't play the album. But like, I don't think we can say like, we need this from you, because I don't need anything from anybody. I'll peruse your offerings and I'll tell you if if one of them resonates. But I don't need anything from anyone. We need you to come out and just. She's like, no, we don't. But this is not me again. So anyway, that's what I have to say about that. I wanted to say that and address that before the album comes out, because I'm excited for the album. And it comes out tomorrow, and let's just see what happens here. So that's what I'm.
Yeah, I know you already purchased it, didn't you?
I did not. I didn't even realize. I didn't even think about pre-ordering it. I'm so excited. I'm going to stay up tonight, first of all, to wish y'all a happy birthday at midnight. And then I'm going to see if it's available for download at 12:01. And I refuse to go and see if it leaks or anything like that.
Well, then you know what you should do? You should give your thoughts after you had a chance to listen to it. That's a good piece of content, I think.
Yeah, it is. Okay, yeah.
You've been a Beyonce fan for so long. Like, you have
absolutely
good. I don't know if you could play it on here, and you might be able to do that.
Oh, I would never. No, they would copyright. Oh, no. I'm not going to show her images or nothing. I might put a blurred up picture of not even her. It's just like they're right. Copyright me, then looks too much like a blurred out picture of what Beyonce might look like. So we're taking this whole ship down. Shut your channel. Anyway. Oh, look at that, guys. We just made it to 90 minutes. That was a nice conversation. I really don't want to say nice, but that was a really fun conversation. Yeah. And I feel like we got a lot out. We got a
lot out, but we still didn't touch on everything. So we definitely will have more to talk about. But we touched on the major thing that's being talked about right now. And
Guys, there's more to come on that too, because we got to see how this plays out. I feel like everything's not out yet.
No, it's not.
Especially if people have to call. When this becomes a criminal case, which it looks like it is now at this point, when they start calling people to testify, it's gonna get really.
I'm telling you, we're gonna be shocked at some of the people who were involved in whatever. I think so. Whoa. You know. So anyway,
guys, I want you to like this, comment, share, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Put down in the comments, in the show notes, all of our links to all of our link trees and stuff. So make sure you're following us on all the platforms. And thanks for tuning in. Anything else you want to say?
Nope. I'm about to play with these fonts for these shirts that we're wearing tonight when we go to the podcast summit on tour.
Yes.
So that's what I'm about to do.
I'm about to go look at some of that content too, so I'll probably call you in a little bit.
Like, share, subscribe, and we'll be back later in another video.
Peace, everybody.